So we're going to do a little recap first. But first of all, when I see this picture, this is an eclipse. So it looks like an bars, but really to me, as soon as I see that, it speaks of an eclipse. So we have the moon and the mother and the father eclipsing in the process, and as we know that the moon means cycles, right? So the moon is, a calendar that we're to watch, and then so the moon is eclipsing the sun, and that's how I see that. Anyways, so we were talking about the locus points, or the locus point, and it, again, for inculcation's purposes, we're talking about the center. And I don't want to lose sight of this, because this is now, I got to bring this forward again, because now we're on a third segment of bringing this forward, and it's a lot in this. And it's based off the matrix, it's based off the first things, it's based off David giving Solomon the template to build. And let's just go up for just a quick second. I want to focus on one word. I'll take it to the page and I'll tell you where it is, because it's not that far up, where we're talking about the verse. And David is talking about, he gave Solomon the ability to build the temple of the inner place, and it's talking about specifically about its upper chambers. So he gave him, right, the template to how to build its upper chambers, and that word for upper chambers is aliyah, and it means a stairway, a second story, and the sky. Okay. So that sky is a big word. We need to hang on to that word, because as we journey in, as you know, we have a tendency to lose track of. We kind of move through so much information. It's very hard. It's hard for me to keep track of the point of topic,
right,
because there's so much infilling, and
right.
This is exactly what we are. It's a representation of us. We are being infilled through a frequency.
Well, and in the aliyah, it's really the process of ascension, aka maturation, step by step.
That's right.
Right? Because it's a staircase.
That's right. And that's why the picture's on. That's why you have that up on that picture, because it's through the process of night and day, light and dark, between mother and father. That is the process of feet and head that we raise. And so that's the point that we're making, but we're taking it into Hebrew and Aramaic terms,
right,
through some English and through some Latin, so we can connect it all to say, where did this language come from, and why was it hidden, and why is it secret, right? A secret society thing that really is obfuscating what it is that we are and how we're to become it. So then this is all spirit-led. There's nothing that I have read, just to restate that. There's nothing that personally that I have read that is connected to any society, other than what we have extracted out to see the Shamayim, the heavens, the lofty message. So
this is the second Exodus, but up and out.
Yeah, it's a spiritual exodus.
Spiritual exodus instead of in the natural.
Yeah.
Up and out of the dualism system of the matrix.
What I see is, I believe, is that
as the firstlings.
As the firstlings. The firstlings will be given the gift, that's the reward of spiritual ascension. And they will be assisting others in walking out what they have walked out. But because of the compression of time, it will be their physical exodus. Because, and I'm not touting, and I want to be clear too, I'm not saying, when I say higher and lower, it is simply, if we pie out a circle, there's simply degrees of becoming, more or less. So this isn't overlording. This isn't still dualistic by nature, going us and them. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm simply saying, by pieing out a circle on a 2D platform, right? Because, make no mistake, the circle is dimensional. It's an accordion. It's a spiral. It's a helix. But looking at it for the face value, we're simply seeing increments of ascension based on our own navigation skills. And that's what we're sharing, is our heart is to share calibration and navigation skills from where we are, so other people may either glean or extrapolate out another way of where they are to connect it. Just a tool and a means to maybe further themselves, in whatever degree that would be. So where we left off with the locus, and we broke up Ceruleus, Locus Ceruleus, which is in the brain. And why is it so important? Because it is based off of center, that is calculated as a law that orienteers by circumnavigation. It simply is a law of draw a circle with a sextant to say there's a circle, it's etched, and now any point on that circle base from center is really a locus point. It's just saying it's the law that holds the circle to the circle. It's just does you can't go beyond that because that breaks the law of the circle. You'd have to build another circle. And
Right,
so
with another radius
with
dimension
another radius, and then that radius is a law
determines the circle.
based off its center,
Right.
determines the circle, right? That's what
Yeah.
makes a circle a circle. It's the law of what spiritually is circumnavigation, feet and head, to become Ouroboros, risen through inculcation, which means to heal, to become the head. Pun intended, that you heal your head. So the last word really that we were going to focus on, we should have left with this one, but there's a lot of information already on our last excavation in the morning. And so this is really the last definition of locus, and it's the Hebrew word for makum, and kum, arise and stand. And so we have this word now because definition of locus means spot and place, and we're seeing that this word for standing place, and it says a spot of condition of body or mind. So now it's connected to the body, and it's a standing place based off of spirituality, right? Because it's in its own kum. It's mother's chaotic waters. If you've entered correctly, you will find the safe harbor. You will find the peaceful place of compressing humility and meekness, right? Or the sovereign stand, compressing sovereignty to become totally encompassed in safe harbors,
Right.
or the safe waters, mother and father. Said many ways, right? So I just really said what makum is, and it's based off the primitive root, because makum is really either a trunk or peripherals of the leaves, and then we can go to the root of the tree, and it says to rise.
Exactly.
And then it's just kuf vav mem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compressing the circle of time. Compressing the circle of time, sovereign sealing or sovereign revelation, because that mem is still revelation, but you're sealed in, right, with that which you've entered into, the open mem, the womb.
So this is, in other words, becoming, to become.
Yeah, your birth.
So becoming would be the mem here.
That's the womb.
Right.
The womb, enter the womb.
And then the compressing of the light, connecting in the heart in sovereign standing.
Yes,
there we go.
Sovereign standing.
To be completed.
Yes. Which is a mindset.
As one who has become.
Right. You're now
as is.
Right. You're sealed in the harbors that you entered. So it's like,
right.
Yeah, so you entered the womb.
Right.
But we know that, again, for inculcation's purpose, that you can only really find Father by entering back into the womb, which is really the covenant of promise, which is really Pesach, which means you're stepping over the threshold, knowing how to enter back in, to be reborn into the intention. From the lesser matrix into the greater matrix, from world into kingdom construct.
Right, and since you're stepping over the threshold of the Bayit, of the house, you are stepping into your temple.
Right.
Right? Because Bayit is an idiom for temple.
And to take it a little higher, any language of stepping over is really a spiritual, it's a spiritual crossing over from an earthly boundary to a spiritual boundary. Like you're moving dimensionally by reverence of frequency. You're comprehending what you're doing. So yes, it's a natural flesh transition walk to step into, but in the greater revelation, it's actually you're moving into a spiritual reality.
Right.
Because as we know, as we can share, when we first crossed over in the basic concept of Pesach, it was more of a duty or responsibility or something that was exciting, but it was all done in just this. We saw it very innocently and yet very vaguely. It wasn't until later that we started fully extrapolating out and seeing the consciousness of spirituality based on maturation of what we stepped into.
Absolutely. And also the fact that when you stepped into something new, there was a little bit of fear and trepidation that went with it.
Right.
Right, because of the not knowing.
So
whenever you step over the threshold into a new status,
right.
Really, a new state of being or becoming, it is a little fearful. I mean, that's just ego saying, oh, I don't know what to do here.
I just want to make sure that people comprehend that we're not looking for it's an inside action, right? It's an inside revelation that seeks activation to complete the intention. It's like, oh, right. And so it's like, it's just a different perspective. And
then the perspective has changed once you've entered into that room and you've investigated all the corners, nooks, and crannies. You no longer fear it.
right. And the only
because you've shed light upon the dark.
Yeah, the only reason,
ignorance.
Yeah, and the only reason we can break free of ignorance is by Shema, right? To hear intelligently.
And to do.
Right. So it's not just hearing, it's hearing intelligently to
Right.
do. By doing, you're becoming that which you're partaking of. The frequency is spiritual, and you're realizing something's changing and it's within me. It's not an outward thing anymore.
So that would be like Bayin, because Bayin is literally sun, Ben Nun, that has a yod or an ayin, yod ayin, the power of vision on the inside. Right? So that when you go into a new room or you step over the threshold, you have to use the discernment, your inward seeing, to be able to see what you previously didn't, to shed light upon it.
Yeah.
That which was once dark to you, hidden to you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move through this so we can get a little further than we do them, because we can just sit on.
I know, we could just sit here and just talk.
So let's look at some pictures though. So let's start again, because this is.
Can I say one thing before we move?
Yeah.
I was going to say about Qumran.
Yes.
The only reason why I wanted to say that is because Resh Nun, as I discovered, you and I were talking about it, and I did share it with some of the teachings. Resh Nun is a ringing cry.
Ren.
Right? Mm-hmm. Ren. And then you have Kum.
Yeah.
So Qumran, those who have a ringing cry that are standing.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see the cry in all of this, that there is something about the cry. And again, we can't go off. Yes, absolutely. The Qumran community there was a shout and a cry within them, which is the Ren. It's actually pretty cool. But anyways, it's just a cry within them. They're calling out for the stand of sovereignty.
Exactly.
But yet, it's because we don't know it in its totality. We don't know. We only know a portion of the radius, right? Depending on where we are standing. This is, again, we're explaining the locus point. By the law of the center, we have a standard or a commanding perspective that is determined center. And so we, in our processing, those are spiritually sojourning through the earth, are crying within they know something's amiss, but then because we don't remember, so it's the mourning, it's the woe of the journey. We are the woes. We are the woes of revelation until the woe is fully revealed, and that's the incremental journey of becoming the completed circle. And again, we're going to see here that the triangle, the square, and the circle. I know it's kind of like esoteric language of alchemy, but really, you are alchemy. We are a procedure. If the circle is to become, then you can only do it through a template that is quadrated,
right,
or squared,
right.
But you're building the triangle because this is the temple language. So it's a language that we can take all the what ifs out of it and just simply say it's measurements. It's an intention that's based off of measurements, and we're going to shed light on the square, the sextant, and the plumb line here in a second. So we can just break it down to say, this is all scripturally based. This is
absolutely.
This is all.
And you can see that with the spiritual alchemy, that in the 2D form with a triangle, right? And there's a square and a circle. In 3D form, it would be a pyramid with a square base that has become an orb.
Yeah. Yep.
Really.
So in this circle, is the circle picture alone off the center? Really, we could say, because, again, radius is a measurement that has a locus point. Every dot on where it says radius and the dot on that circle is a locus point. It's the law that makes the circle. And radius is a measurement. Radius is a beam, a rod. It simply is a calculation in determining a measurement from center. So what that is saying, that right there is actually the sun. That is radius fully circled.
Right, because a radius is a measurement. We connected it to light.
Well, the word radius means to be brilliant, right? Because it's radius. It's a measurement of completed circle. And in the spiritual connotation, for that to be fully radius, as the full face of, that is a picture really that speaks as a temple or the sun. That would be a sun, because you cannot be fully radius, aka diameter. Now you're fully exposed as the measurement, as diameter, to right? A measurement of 2 becoming 1,
Right.
that is now fully diameter, right?
So in other words, fully illuminated.
Fully illuminated, right? And then you can see the picture below, because this is the same. This is now a whirl in a whirl, or a whirlwind within. You are now completed. You've gone through inculcation, to round and round, right, on the steps of becoming, and it's all incremental. And so you've kind of, this is a spiral staircase within yourself. You have become really this amazing tornado, or this.
It's a Sufi dance.
It is. It's a whirling. And we're going to see the language here in a second. But within you is a whirlwind, and a straight line, and a square, and a sextant. It's all the tools are within you. So let's break down now into Ceruleus to see. And I don't want to get so mechanical. I don't like mechanical. I'm more spiritual. So when I go mechanical, I wrestle myself, because I see everything so spiritual. But Ceruleus. Okay, so we have the word Ceruleus, and it's derived from ceruleum, and it means sky in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Dark color, dark blue, green. Okay, mm-hmm. So there's the word. So we have now the spot, or the place of the sky in heaven. Locus, Ceruleus.
Yeah, okay.
Got it. Locus point.
Yes.
The spot or the place. The kum shamayim. Or.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, because we take the Hebrew now, so we
kum, the spot of heaven.
The spot of heaven.
Kum hashamayim.
And we know that we just discerned kum, the sovereign stand of becoming mother and father, is heaven.
Yes.
Locus Ceruleus is within you.
Yes. Totally see that.
You just need to see it to build it.
Right.
Okay, so we can take this definition, and now we can transfer over the Hebrew to say, well, so Locus Ceruleus, kum shamim, or kum
hashamayim.
Kum shahamayim. So I am the spot of heaven within me. Okay? And so now let's just define this to say, okay, well.
Anoki kum hashamayim.
Right, I am. Or yes, or anu, we.
Yep.
Naknu. So then we're gonna point this out in a second here too. So now we have Ceruleus, and now it's saying, and it says the sky, the heaven, or the vault of heaven. And then we see by its own definition, we have vault of heaven for ceruleum. Okay?
Yeah.
We're just keeping the definitions. And from the Vulgate, we can see that ceruleum, and it's to set, and he saw in his dream a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And so we can now.
And just so in case people don't know, the Vulgate, or the Vulgate, is the Latin translation of the sacred writings. Just so people know, because some people don't know that.
Right. So I believe that Jacob was seeing a picture of himself, ascension, and there was a stair. That's why I showed the spiral. The spiral is in all of us. The etching and the template and the measurement of the order of command is within us all. It's just a matter if there's a willing to ascend.
So that whirling, if you saw it from the top down, would be a description of a toroidal field.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you were looking from the top, it just would be a spiral, like the Milky Way galaxy. But when you look at it from the side, it's a toroidal field.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a dimension above us, so it's all within. So we are a vortex, and we're gonna break this down, what a vortex is, here in a second, because we need to break up. Again, we'll just step this out. So now ceruleum is from and we have the dark blue, which is from the uncertain. So now it's connected to celestial, because it's the same root form that connects to it. So now we're going, wow. So now we have the word for celestial. And then if we go down to its definition in the late 14th century, we see now it says pertaining to the sky or the visible heavens. So Ceruleus, right, now is connected to sky and heavens, and now it's connected to celestial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, because it means the same thing, pertaining to the sky, shining and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, and now why am I talking about the circle so much? Because how does the circle come in? Because this is about orienteering with the sextant, where we get the Masons that they have the square and the sextant, right?
Right.
To build the temple. So now let's see.
So because building the temple is building you.
Right. So now let's see where the circle comes into the Hebrew. So to draw around, make a circle, right? And we've already shared a little bit about this. To describe a circle, compass.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Job, one occurrence of that, and he described a circle on the surface of the waters. But if you go down to the same word, right, it's the root of circle, and it means vault and horizon. which was what? Which was the definition of Ceruleum. Vault in heaven.
Yeah.
Right? So now we have this word that's talking about vault, horizon, and a circle. And it's 3 occurrences of this. And he walks on the vault of heaven. And it's interesting that in this, so this would be like Luke Skywalker. Light, because light, Skywalker.
Right, because Luke, yes.
Luke means light. So
Right.
we can see that he was a Skywalker.
That's awesome. What a great connection.
Because within us is this ability to become a light walker.
Yeah, I mean,
heaven is within you, and we can walk the vault of heaven because the measurement is contained within every fiber of our essence.
And this is why instruction is needed.
Right.
Right? Because if it's way low that he cannot see, no, the only reason why you can't see is you haven't been instructed. You haven't been taught the way to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because Mother gives you the power to begin to see it and see the revelation of the vault, of the circle, right? As long as you're teachable and humble and you allow it to pierce your heart, this is what allows you to find light because you've gathered and assembled the instructions to wean and ripen you.
Yes.
To be of Shamayim. And then the halak, what is determined is the power that is given through the covenant of Mother.
Yes.
Because you're no longer, you wouldn't be below, you wouldn't be understanding, you would be overstanding.
Right. Yeah.
So that's an amazing little snippet of a verse right there.
It is.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And it's saying that when you are walking upon the vault of heaven, it's a gift from God.
Yes.
Because it's got the diamond above, the quadration.
Yes. So comprehending the gift, because much is given, but again, how do you reach to restore if there's ignorance to neglect? Most of us don't realize who we are, and we're allowing a dictate to really tether us to a lesser construct. And that's just what it is, because here it is right here, and I'm trying to my best to keep it in the original script, but I still need to have my own whirlwind go out a little bit to pull in some Latin to say why do we say these things, so we can bring it back to center. So let's bring it back to center. So now we can go down a little further. So we see this word Ceruleus, which means derived from ceruleum. So we have sky in heaven, which is talking about celestials. And so now we can see this as to the sea. So we as ourselves are seeking the fullness of being the completed measure of fully encompassed.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see Anu in this, because why did I see that? Because Anu means as sky in heaven. Now, this is really interesting. Now, this is why I woke up at 1:30 a.m., actually before 1:30 a.m. I got up at 1:30 a.m. this morning. And I was woken up by a word that said supreme. And I was like, pardon me? And it says supreme deity or supreme entity or supreme, right? Supreme being is actually what woke me up. It said supreme being. And I wrestled this in my sleep. And it was like, okay, supreme being. And it said, the voice then said, now extrapolating out and going like, so how is the supreme being measured? And I went, by the Supreme Court. And it said, yes, the supreme measure of Supreme Court creates the supreme being. So so that's what woke me up, and I could not shake it this morning. And I didn't know. I'm going, oh my goodness, and this is an older file, and I'm going like, oh my goodness, Anu. So look, go down a little further, because we're going to see what Anu. Oh, well, actually, let's just step this out first of all before we go down a little further. So we have this word Anu, and now it's connected to Locus Ceruleus, which is connected to Kum Shamayim.
Right, because of the sky in heaven. Yes.
So in you.
Okay.
So now this word for Anu, right, is a sky of heaven in its divine personification of the sky, supreme God, an ancestor to all the deities in ancient Mesopotamian region.
Religion.
Or religion, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anu was believed to be the supreme source of all authority for other gods and for all mortal rulers. He is described in one text as the one who contains the entire universe. Okay. So sail on that just for a second. That alone is like, wow. But that's really just saying, that's another word, right? So it's Sumerian going like, interesting, Anu, right? So now we're going to enter an intermission. This is what I put in here. So, okay, so now we're going off topic again, but I need to add an intermission.
Well, that would be like Skyfather.
Right. But again, you are Sky Mother until you're Sky Father.
Right.
So I had to go like, okay, so it woke me up and it said, go look at Supreme. And so now from the 15th century, we see the word the highest, right? Situated above, from the pi, the upper, over, God, supreme, and then this is Supreme Court was really established in 1689. So from its own root,
that is really interesting that the Supreme Court in this land says it's God.
God. That's the point I'm making. Now I'm not.
Holy crap.
Now hold on. No, hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Just like,
I want to be really careful. I'm not going into politics.
No, I know. But when you be able to see what was pulled down into the English as the alpha language, it's wow.
We need to slow down a lot right here because this is what got me up in that said supreme, 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 and I was like, okay, I'm getting up, and then this is where I was this morning, right? So now we're at 7:42, and I've been up since 1:30, like my normal time, anyways. But usually it's 2:30. But anyways, this is what I woke up with. So yes, so the lesser construct is saying that there is a God over you, and it's ruled by the Supreme Court, and it means the highest order. There's nothing higher. Right? So we're talking about judge magistrates here, rulers and principalities and dominions and power that is being really we're catering to a system. And I'm not saying that I'm not promoting anarchy or rebellion here. I am simply looking at what the Spirit has told me to do my research because there is a law of removal that is held to the higher standard. Mm-hmm. Because this is the place of origin and intention. Mm-hmm. So let's just look at this word from supreme. So now I'm going, okay, so now we have this word. It's from over and above, across. We have now a cross language. So we have a crossing over language here. And now we can go into court. So now we have Supreme Court, right? Formal assembly held by a sovereign, the king's court, a princely residence, enclosed yard, sovereign assembly, those assembled in the yard, company, cohort. And it's from the word gur, or gur, right? Now, when we look at that, now calm, I know that from up above here because it's still from.
That's interesting. So with together.
That's from the prefix of compass.
Right, with and together,
with
and
and
then
together
to grasp.
Right.
To enclose.
To enclose. Yes, that's the pi. That is the primitive root for the pretext for compass. It means we journey passage. Compass means we journey together to cross over. That's the passage. That's why the compass is a big deal. Amazing. Because to circumnavigate correctly with compass and square and rule, there is a rule and a measure that allows you to become fully compassed, to leave as the supreme being of intention.
Right.
So now we have this word for beyond, above, across, right? Now we're going to the court. We can see that we have this word from court, and it's from calm, the pretext, and then gur. So now calm, with together. So together we are what? We grasp to enclose. Go down to the gur here. And now this is all about the garden. The gur. You are fully encompassed. You stepped out of the garden to experience the garden again. When you become fully circled, you are now fully encompassed as a supreme being that has been walked together back to the garden. Fenced and enclosed, from being open, broad, and wide, you have narrowed your gate, and you have become that which is the intention. You are now turned back to as the east, as it never happened again, back to the place of supreme being.
That's wonderful.
And this is what I woke up with this morning. So we're still in a little intermission here. And it spooked me in a good way to say, oh my gosh, we are so close to things right now. If you can grasp this.
Right.
Cough. Through the yod, through both hands, one points you in the direction of going, of orienteering. The yod, the power means in direction, so the left hand may grasp that which it is.
And that is the word that is pronounced as ki. This is ki.
This is ki. So you are now and
that's a burning,
a branding, or right. So it's now you're brandished with a mark. So now we have this enclosed place, And so from which we can see, we together have journeyed out from the garden. Go down a little bit. There you go. We together have journeyed out from the garden to experience the garden. We are now returning back to the supreme position of being fully beyond as the enclosed garden. Anu, we.
Mm-hmm.
From Anu, the supreme deity of the sky and the heaven.
Totally get that. That's why this is the resolve to what I got the other day. Instead of I am, we are.
Right. And this is where I extrapolated out that from some people that they can, back in the past teachings of Anaknu or Ananaknu.
Right.
Anoki is I, Anu is we, Ananaknu means I and we are this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is connecting that. But it connected it again this morning, going like, okay, so now we are on Anaknu. And it's interesting. So we can just run through this a little bit, that we are, and then the first occurrence of Anaknu is in Genesis 13:8. We are brothers ourselves. So we are ourselves.
Right.
And we have the word for Ish is now Anishim,
Anashim,
Anashim,
Akim,
Akim,
Anaknu.
Anaknu.
And that's interesting because, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. Anash is basically the weak and feeble of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But as a brotherhood who has come through the sea, we are we.
We are strengthened.
Because divided they will try to conquer us, but united we
Right.
stand.
Right.
Anaknu.
Anaknu.
And what's beautiful about that, oh my gosh, this is huge. So the other day I was breaking down, but I was breaking down the Aleph Vav, and it was this scripture about, those who leave their house and their mother and brother and father and, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The connecting rod to all of those was Aleph Vav. It's like in oneness we connect. Right? And it says it over and over again. In oneness connect. In oneness connect. And look what we have on the inside.
Yeah.
We have noon, het noon. So noon het is rest.
Yeah.
Right? But then we have the covenant of the pieces here too.
Yeah.
Because we have mother and father that have been divided, the two noons, that have het in the middle, which is life.
Right.
Which is finding Chava pulled out of mankind so that you can enter into rest. So in oneness, connect. That's the word for Anaknu.
Yes. That's why.
No, that's what I'm saying. In oneness, connect. Go through the pieces of mother and father. Bring them back together. Life is in the middle. We are.
You are the circle.
You
are the center. You're being calibrated out from a center margin to say, become the circle. You are a supreme being.
That's so amazing.
So you are the heaven. It's within you.
Right.
You are the supreme court. But you have to comprehend what the court is. The court is a legal measure that holds the standard of the completed circle.
You want to know what's interesting? Remember I told you the other day that in the book of Urantia it talked about the being that was created, and I couldn't remember the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Supreme Being.
Interesting. Okay, so
in this concept and trying to bring it forward, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's something that was given that was explaining it. And now with what Spirit gave you, not reading that book, not knowing anything, the Spirit is already showing you this.
Yeah. Supreme Being.
I so love it. And so when I was reading, we are the Supreme Being.
Right. Well, we have...
Or we're coming into the consciousness of
potentiality is still a choice.
Right.
So we still are given choice. So now I want to go down a little further on. Now keep this. So this is Anoki at 595. Now I want to show 594. Can you go into 594?
It's right there.
I know, but show the whole screen though, so that people...
Oh, sure.
People can't see it. Like, so right there. Stop right there. So now we have a plummet. Aleph, Nun, Kaf is a plumb line. And it's and remember, Anoki, I, is Aleph, Nun, Kaf, Yod. So I am the power and the mean, but this is premature to say, if you grasp this, you can see the plumb line, because the plumb line is how we build.
Wasn't there a god named Anak?
Yes.
Well, there it is right there.
but we
The
can,
plumb line.
but we'll see what the God is, because we can see that was standing by a vertical wall. Who was standing by a vertical wall?
Yeah, because
If
it's
you
chomet.
want 4 occurrences, the first 2 occurrences are in 7-7.
Oh, yeah, because it's the red one and the green
The
one.
red one and the green one. So we have a
Right.
plumb line with a plumb line. But who's holding it? God was standing by the vertical wall in this verse, holding the plumb line.
Mm.
Now, anything is built from the horizontal to the vertical. So in this verse on Amos 7:7, that it says that God was standing on the wall holding the plumb line. His hand was holding the measure. The plumb line was going down. So we have this amak to anu, right? Because now you are the plumb line, but you have to become the plumb line so you can become anakdu.
Yeah, and this vertical and the horizontal thing, I just shared this the other day, and I don't remember what verse it was, but it was something that I was recording that it was vertical and horizontal. It's escaping me right now, but I'm seeing how it's all unfolding.
So we have now,
Wow, making me spin a little.
so Elohim was standing on the vertical wall. So now you have vertical, right? He was
Yeah.
standing on the vertical, by the vertical wall. The vertical now means the plumb line. So plumb line is, vertical is your plumb line. You can only comprehend vertical from the horizontal. Laying down,
So the laying down, that's mother,
that's mother.
and then the vertical is father
And what was Ceruleus? The vault in the horizon, right?
of the heaven.
Of the heaven. So now we're going to explain why we're doing this. So then we now have, so we can see the square and the sextant and the plumb line. Does that sound familiar? Right? Because now we're talking almost, this is why the Freemasons have the square and the sextant, to say, what are they saying that they're building? Because this is how we find center, is by comprehending what is really transacting here. So now we have, from the root of Ceruleus, we have vault and the arch. So this is vault from Latin, of what it means. It means the vaulted roof or chamber. So remember what...
Oh, right. So aliyah.
Aliyah.
So vaulted roof that the beloved David was sharing to his son Solomon to bring forth peace.
Right. So now we
the
have...
process of ascension.
So now we have the vaulted roof chamber in its own definition, the arch and the vaulting, which ties into Ceruleus.
Right.
So now we have kum shamayim. The vault of heaven is the being,
To arise.
is to arise, to become
the supreme
being, right? Is based off of the template of measurement,
Right.
based off of commandment given. You have the plumb line to become the vertical from the horizon, from the horizontal.
And horizon, that's Kuf. That's literally the picture of Kuf.
Right.
In paleo.
So now you're fully resolved through the revolving of Teshuvah, Shuv, turn back to the measurement. This is going back to the garden. That's why I brought it up.
Right. So Gal, to turn and revolve, Gimel Amed. So
go east. Go back to the garden.
But Gan is Gimel Noon.
Yes.
So we're actually becoming Gimel Lamed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because it's the weaned and the ripened who have gathered and now have the staff of authority. No longer Gan in the fallen flesh.
Right.
And so if it's Gal instead of Gimel, the Mem has been removed. So you now have no waters of chaos on the inside. Now you are the weaned and the ripened that have been given the staff of authority of light.
Right. So now...
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And it also means a fountain.
Yes. So now you're connecting how you need to connect. I need to share. So yes, you're connecting so you can make sense of this. But so even in this vault of where it's talking about Ceruleus, we can still see that it's from the root well. Now this is because the whole premises of benevolence versus malevolent is illness to wellness.
Mm-hmm.
The fully arisen East is healed and whole, which by definition is called wellness. Wellness is knowing that you are now completely turned as the heaven. Your journey fully remembered, healing the head wound. So now we have this...
No longer separated.
No longer separate. You've connected. The circle is now joined as one.
Totally comprehend.
Vertical and horizon they're inseparable because the journey has produced the greater's intention, the vertical, from the horizon or horizontal.
So when you meet in the middle of them, like when you meet in the middle of it,
you're it.
like at a bullseye right there, that forms a cross.
It's hitting the mark. Sure, it's a bullseye. Absolutely, yes.
But the cross between horizontal and vertical in the center of going through both ways and connecting them together, unifying them into one, is literally the mean of the Tav.
Yes.
Because Tav means cross.
You're the mark.
You've been marked.
Yes, it's speaking it many ways that you are.
That's
you are
wow.
the target. You're the bullseye. So let's look at these words. So now we have I and mark. That's right in the word horizon, right? So now we have the vault, the circle. So now horizon means a bounding circle, limit, divided, boundary, landmark, marking stones, right? I mark limit of your horizon, right? And this is all part of the journey of mother being the vertical, the woof, and the warp of the loom is vertical. That's how they're woven together.
Right.
That you incrementally see mother and father by they both express themselves in organic presentation by compressing light organically.
Which then allows you to go up vertically.
You're building mother and father together. So people say, I can't see father, I don't know father, or through what we're sharing, like, yeah, you do. It's just incrementally woven. You see father based on your ability to navigate mother.
Right.
Okay.
And as the compression happens on the loom, you're building height. You're
Right.
going vertical.
Vertical. You're building the supreme being by the intention of what it takes to build a supreme being.
Right. I get that.
Well, I know you do. I'm not telling. I'm just. Really?
Sorry. That's funny.
There's other people listening. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was just funny.
I'm talking to the dog in the room.
I know
Come up.
you do.
Okay, so now supreme. So vertical is added for perspective. So this doesn't talk horizon, but how can we talk horizon or horizontal without going vertical? So now, because what supreme says, so now we have supreme. Vertical means the highest point.
Yeah, I got it.
And now we have vertex, straight up and down, and vertical. So this is what I woke up with again, going like vertical, the supreme being.
Right.
Right? And now it's connected to vertex, and that's back.
Well, and again, so the vertical position or line, the plumb line.
The plumb line.
Right, Anak. I totally got it. Yep.
So the highest point, literally the turning point, whirling, calling, whirlpool, sorry.
Right.
Highest point of anything. And
to turn. This is shuv.
This is shuv, but it's also, there's also.
And panah.
Right, but it's also, even in the Hebrew, it's also the circle dance, right?
Chul.
Chul. Right? Mm-hmm.
Het vav lamed.
Yep.
To find life connecting within, which is the instruction, so you can whirl.
That's why we see all over the place the two dancing bears. They're circle dancing, and it's mother and father dancing in unison of one dance. That's really what that picture is saying. It's the two bears. But so now we have vortex, and we're going back to wind, fire, flame, whirlwind, whirlpool, to turn.
I like that, to turn and to bend.
Mm-hmm. It's all based on.
That's really the cough.
It's all based on subjecting yourself to really the object, right? Objectively knowing, right, how to subject yourself to become the object lesson. The object is to become the supreme being.
Yes, I agree.
So now we're going down to, I had to break it down now to supreme. So now let's go into Elyon.
Oh, that's good. Oh, because that is so close to Aliyah? Well, that's almost the exact same spelling.
Hold on. Yes, hold on. So let's just break this down. So
wow.
Now we're going into the next word. So bring your screen down a little bit so they can see the whole screen. There you go. There's the Aliyah. 5995.
But the way it was written.
I know, but look at 5495 and 5494. Aliyah and Elyon are side by side. And they're both.
So is this flipped then? Is that supposed to be? Because this is 5495 and this is 5944.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, it is. 5494. That's flipped. That's my doing. 5494. They're either.
Okay. Yeah. No, 5945.
Yes.
Dyslexia.
I wrestle this all the time.
I
Mind you,
know.
remember, 1:30 in the morning.
I
So
know.
have some grace here.
But no, that absolutely makes sense of that, because if I remember how it was
Okay.
written in that verse, it was very similar to this,
To what?
to this Elion, because it had a vav. It wasn't just Eliah.
When
It was
David
more, yeah.
will go up and get it. You're only you're only like 6 inches away from it. You can punch in 5944 and go right to it, by the way.
That's right. Okay. Okay. 5944. Let's see if that takes us here.
There you go.
So the difference there, we have the tav.
Tav.
So it's very, very close to the same thing. I knew that was something, so it was the yod tav in there.
Right. So there you go. So now we have the sky, Aliyah, Locus, Ceruleus, the sky in the heaven, supreme being, the highest place, the name
Right.
of God, the roof chamber is now in you. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Locus Ceruleus,
Which is in your brain.
which is in your brain. It's called the blue spot or the blue heaven within you. And
so in other words, that that spot in your brain is the process which allows you to ascend.
if it's not circumnavigated by, we're going to talk about this, by a corona injection.
Right. Or fear.
Or
because fear would keep that.
Right. Because the healing comes in by dismissing fear, right?
And perfecting love.
Becoming David Shalom.
Right. The beloved that is of peace.
The beloved that is of peace. This is the temple to be building what? The temple.
As a supreme being.
As a supreme being.
Which is truly Aliyah.
Which is returning home. Because Aliyah, because go back to 5944. Now this is through the Jewish.
The law of return.
The law of return. And the law is a measurement that allows you to return to center. Now, this isn't a Jewish format. I'm talking about.
No. But even the name of Israel, right? Whether you're looking at it through Egypt, Israel, or you're looking at it through those who are the just and the upright who have wrestled and overcome as El.
Right.
Both are appropriate.
So now we go back to Elion. So now you have the Most High, the Supreme. And in its own definition, of course, that's why I highlighted it and put it to 16 font, Supreme. And this is what woke me up. The Most High, right. Is being supreme, and then it's connected to, it's from origin. And so in 5495A and B, we have Supreme and the High, the name of God. Both rooted in 5927, as Aliyah is rooted in 5927.
Right.
So they come from the exact same root. They're just saying there is a measure of revelation that will establish you in the flesh to show you how to ascend to become the highest. Right?
So to see and know the purpose of the teachings.
Right.
That brings the revelation.
This is the fountain of the tree of light, is the revealed revelation.
The fountain of the tree of light is the revelation. Yep, I see it.
Yep. So now this is the primitive root. This is fully ascension. This is ascended, to ascend, right?
Yeah.
And so the knowing of what the inward eye is able to see through the lamed, the pointing and goading of light, you become revelation.
And you're revealed as one who ascended.
Right.
To become a supreme being.
Right.
Totally see that. And on this aliyah right here, that is two visions that have become one. Yes. So this right here, this is a completed mother who is father.
Yes. Yes, you're the top. you are.
Hence why you're a supreme being.
You won't return back unless you have the double vision, the 2020 vision, to really comprehend this. And 2020, well, we'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Because 2020 in Hebrew really means deliverance. In Strong's 2020 means deliverance. Strong's 2021 means the weapon has been forged.
Wow.
So we're in right now forging the weapon to return to 2022, which is Har.
Well, and how amazing.
The mountain.
How amazing is that the word Kali Kaf Lamed Yod means to complete, to be completed in whole, and to be fashioned with weaponry.
Yes.
And Kal is bride and crown.
Completed.
Bride, crown, completed, empowered.
And we're going there. So, but I wanted to focus on 5927. I wanted to focus on specifically the occurrences.
Yeah, I saw that.
888 occurrences.
That's the gematria for the word for Christ.
Well, you're fully ascended.
I know.
As the supreme being.
I know, but that's like Mashiach. That's like Christ. That's the number right there. 888.
It is. So, hold on one second before.
Whoa. 888 is Christ. 999 is the Shemesh Christ. Completed. It's the step after the Mashiach anointing.
Now, this is amazing.
Oh, it's building fire.
You're building fire, right. But this is knowing good from evil. Like, it's amazing. So we have this word in Aramaic that is really, but again, we can take the language of building. So you've completely built Ish, right? Built fire.
Yeah.
In Daniel. So
Temple of fire.
Temple of fire, right. But again, knowing the circle in the lesser narrative, evil, don't touch the screen, please. I get fingerprints when it goes off. So
don't touch the screen, please. I get fingerprints when it goes off. So don't touch my screen. This is based on deliverance.
Going down onto the sun. So this is deliverance and deliverance.
Then the king, when he heard these words, greatly displeased. There's the displeased. There's your 888.
Right.
With himself. This is part of the Aliyah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's Ein Lamed. Here's your Hey Yod. Different order. But now there's the Vav that's in it.
Right.
This is ascension.
Yeah. So again, we can break down the verse going like, but it's saying one thing, it's saying evil, but I can tell you that to become...
And his heart was in the wrong order.
That to become the completed circle, you're either going to rise... Well, the only way you can become the completed circle, because this whole compass is based off white and black, good and evil. So you have defined, because evil, there is no word for evil. Remember, evil only means adversary.
And evil, as Ein Vav Lamed, also means a child or an infant.
So you know the journey of the child based on maturation, because in the completed circle, you're now able to, because the tree knows, because what is the tree? The tree of good and adversary.
Right.
So from this perspective, you can see the completed circle is the same language of building the temple to become the supreme being. You are back to the measure of good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
You now know what it is by circumnavigating the journey correctly through the rendering of the teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So, very interesting.
Well, and even, well, I guess I don't need to go into this verse. This will take us off sideline. There's just a lot here.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot.
So now let's go back to what the fire, because let's go back to the verse now, back in the file that I gave you. And I wanted to connect this, because now we have this word for 888 occurrences to go up and to ascend. And now now we have the 5928. And it's the same spelling, same gematria, but now it's talking about a Holocaust and a burnt offering.
Right.
And then from 5930, it's talking about ascent again, same spelling, a staircase as ascending.
Yeah.
And it's from the same root, 5927. And then really interesting, we can look at the 5929, and it's a leaf and leafage. The first occurrence is when Adam and Eve covered themselves in what? Allah. The same word. A leaf as your covering,
Wow.
collectively foliage. The covering of the
Wow.
tree as a collective. We are the leaves of the tree. We have been scattered abroad. We are all journeying together.
To ascend together.
To ascend together.
Wow.
We are the leaves of the tree. Anu. Supreme beings. The Supreme has scattered us as leaves from the tree.
Look at the next word. This is the making of Anu.
Anu.
Because it has a hey. There's not a vav there.
Right.
It's Aleph Nun.
Right.
So through Mother's covenant, in the way of one, through the spiritual path, it will be revealed the process of us coming together as Anu. Because you have to have the hey before the vav. You have to have the revelation of this before you can connect to it. So Mother has to teach you this so that you can ascend. So we can all ascend and become the Supreme Being. Oh my gosh. No wonder why you were woke up this morning with that. That is so phenomenal.
Well, this already, yeah.
I mean, I already had pieces of it, but it was like it was being drilled down and specifically saying, this has to go out.
Well, there's a difference between releasing it and the difference between connecting it, because something is going on right now.
Yes, it is.
That as we release the frequency, things are happening at light speed right now.
Oh my.
And so if we see it, we can become it. If it's recognized in the earth by the due diligence of extraction, that the revelation is taken organically and innocently in its essence of purity and established in that same manner, then it co-creates, and we create the essence of purity and innocence as the intention.
Amen.
We have not taken the perverted inversion of sex and secret societies to hold something hostage from the people and only give it to a select few. We freely disperse this
to
in the
many.
frequency of love to the many.
That's right.
As we are the many, we are the leaves. And it says, if you can see the tree, you can become the tree.
Amen.